Want to call this town council meeting August the 8th, 7 p.m. to order. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilman Brown,
Present.
Councilman Fields,
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
She'll be on her way. She's running a little behind.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Peterson. Here. Councilman Pete,
Here.
Vice Mayor Nickerson. Here. Mayor Wood.
Present.
Sir, you have a quorum.
We now have a moment of prayer with Pastor Henry Winners Church here in Dumfries.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Shall we pray, please? Father, once again, we want to say thank you. Thank you for life. Thank you for the opportunity to gather once again. Thank you for the privilege to serve your people and to serve the community of Dumfries. We want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the progress you've given us so far. I want to say thank you for the unity you've given us so far. And also, Lord, may your name alone be praised. Tonight, as we gather, we're asking, Lord, that you guide our hearts. Help us not to be misguided in this meeting. We pray that you will align our thoughts with your thoughts, Lord. We open up our hearts and allow you to flow through us and let your love be expressed even among us. We ask that you give us clarity and understanding as regards to the issues at hand. And Lord, we are praying that you inspire us with the wisdom of God to make the right decisions. We also ask, Lord, that you will inspire us tonight for solutions over every pressing issue here in the town of Dumfries. We also ask for the wisdom of God for productivity and creativity and for problem solving. Let our decision tonight reflect only the wisdom of God. And at the end of the day, Lord, we will return all the glory to you. We pray for the town of Dumfries, that you continue to unite us, that you continue, God, to allow your love to be expressed through us, to touch our neighbors, to be a caring people. And Lord, we ask for peace. Above all, Lord, we're asking for the prosperity of the town of Dumfries. And Lord, we say thank you because we know tonight we will make progress and the life of the people will remain better and will remain stronger as a people. All this we ask in Jesus' name, amen. God bless you all.
Man, we ask that you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right, next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda.
I have questions about the agenda.
Sure.
So my question is, in looking at the agenda, item E under the action items talks about the establishing members for the naming committee. And then item F is naming of the fire rescue squad. So I want to understand what the context of item F, because just at looking at it, it seems premature that we would have naming of the rescue squad the same night that we would also be establishing the members of the naming committee.
So F is just to read off the messages that came in for. We got two submissions for that.
So would we do that now, or isn't that something that would be pertinent to once the committee is
So
formed?
this probably shouldn't be.
Can I finish my question, please? So
Yes, you can finish your question.
thank you. So whatever information came in that's pertinent to whatever names are being submitted for consideration, then those letters or what have you, wouldn't they be information that the committee once formed, which should have for consideration? So,
You want
so
me to
there's
answer
my-
the first question or the last one?
so yes, I want you to answer both of them now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll respond. This is to read off the submissions that came in. It's just a discussion. There's no action to be taken on that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or additions to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Fields,
I would
the
like
floor
to
is
add,
yours.
I would like to add to the agenda to maybe an I after H.
I after H. What? Go ahead.
It could be in that part, or it could be a D, reports and presentations, either one of your choice, to discuss town code section 70-22.
Anyway, all right, we'll put it at the end.
Is that D before the action item?
No, I at the end. He wants a discussion.
Okay.
Again, this code section 70-22 discussion.
All right. Anybody else? All right, so we need a motion with all the amendments.
So move.
Second.
Okay,
Mr.
discussion, yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I just might, the council can waive their bylaws, but it requires section 4-2, requesting legislation or agenda items to be completed at least 30 days prior to the advertised meeting date. So it's up to if you're going to adopt that resolution, you probably should amend your bylaws.
Are you asking for a resolution to be adopted? or-
No.
Okay,
This is a discussion.
Okay, all right, thank you.
all right. Yeah, we know, yeah. Yes, sir. You said there's no motion is a second. It's been motioned by Councilman Pete, second by Fields. Was there any other, or you waiting to vote? Oh, you waiting on the vote? Okay. We'll call for,
Clear on this. Are we not clear on this motion?
no, well, you made it. I'm clear. You made it with just adding letter I. Discussion to 70-22.
That was motion by Field, right?
No, it was motion by Pete and it was second by Fields.
Oh,
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm call for the question. Councilwoman Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Vice Mayor,
yes.
Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Councilman Fields,
Yes.
say yes for me. The motion carries 6-0. All right, next on the agenda is the presentation of awards and proclamation. The first one is a National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day proclamation. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have someone here from Main Springs Recovery? Great, thank you. Okay, so National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day proclamation, whereas fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, is 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. And whereas because of its strength and low production costs, illegally manufactured fentanyl is being found in illicit drugs of all kinds, including heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine, and is being used at increasing rates. And whereas according to the Virginia Department of Health, an average of 4 Virginians die a day from an opioid-related overdose in 2020 alone. And fentanyl caused or contributed to 75.8% of all fatal overdoses in 2022. And whereas while expanding access to fentanyl testing strips and the emergency narcotic overdose reversal drug, Naxalone, is key to reducing fentanyl use and overdose, the stigma that surrounds drug use, addiction, and overdose often makes it difficult for communities to implement these measures and effectively address the opioid crisis. And whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia has been proud to support and advance several measures to address substance use and overdose deaths in Virginia, including passing legislation to combat this deadly fentanyl poisoning crisis by investing in increased community level supports for people who have been grappling with mental health and substance use challenges. And whereas the town of Dumfries joins all those who have been affected by fentanyl use and spreading awareness of the harm that fentanyl can cause, and reminds all Virginians that anyone can save a life by educating themselves on the signs of an overdose, learning how to administer Naxalone, and calling 911. Now therefore, the town of Dumfries, the Town Council of Dumfries, Virginia, do hereby proclaim August 21st, 2023 as National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day. throughout the town of Dumfries and commend this observance to all our residents. By order of the Town Council, signed Derek R. Wood, Mayor. I'd like to come up and receive this. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Brittany Schuessler and I'm here representing Mainspring Recovery. It is a true honor and privilege to be a part of this community as a partner and helping to prevent and also treat substance use disorder. If anyone in the community is seeking help, one thing that sets us apart from other resources is that we do accept Medicaid, and that's something that I want to make sure the community is aware of. Thank you so much for this recognition.
All right, next is a proclamation for Black Business Month and commendation to the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce. It says, whereas the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce stands as a nonpartisan, nonprofit 501c3 organization deeply committed to the growth and development of its members, partners, and businesses seeking to collaborate with them. And whereas the Chamber's noble goal is to foster the economic empowerment of Black-owned businesses in Northern Virginia, thus contributing to the overall success and development of the region. And whereas through its outstanding initiatives, the Chamber provides essential leadership, strategic information, and technical assistance to empower and uplift businesses in the Alexandria, Arlington, Fairfax, Loudoun, Prince William, and other municipalities within this region. And whereas the Town Council of Dumfries recognizes and commends the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce for its unwavering dedication to maximizing the return on investment for business by promoting networking opportunities, offering practical entrepreneur education, and providing the necessary tools to develop and advance business within the region. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries dares hereby officially designate the month of August as Black Business Month to honor and celebrate the achievements and resilience of Black-owned businesses and entrepreneurs. Furthermore, the Town Council extends a heartfelt commendation and appreciation to the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce for their exceptional commitment to empowering Black-owned business, fostering economic growth, and advancing the development of the success. By order of the Town Council, signed Mayor Derek R. Wood.
Hi, everyone. I am Tanya White. I am on the Board of Directors of the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also the Communications Chair. The gentleman taking the pictures is our Chair of the Board of Directors, Samuel Wiggins. We should be switching roles, but apparently I'm doing the talking today. But last week, I was reminded during the start of Black Business Month, the National Negro Business League. And that was started in 1900 by Booker T. Washington. And their goal really was to provide resources way back in 1900 for Black businesses. And, you know, it was really difficult to be a Black business owner way back then. And it was even more difficult for you to prosper as a Black business owner. But their goal was to just create economic equity. So fast forward that into now. And so our goal, the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce, is to do that same thing, to create economic equity. And we do that by creating relationships with our community, like Dumfries, and you, the people. So we want to continue that. creating those relationships, providing resources and education. So with other partners as well. So we want to keep that going. So thank you. We appreciate being part of this and receiving this proclamation.
Next is the Black Business Proclamation and Commendation for the Virginia Black Business Directory. Whereas August is recognized as National Black Business Month, time to honor and celebrate the significant contributions of Black-owned business across the nation. Whereas Black business owners make up approximately 10% of all United States business and around 30% of all minority-owned business, with approximately 2 million companies owned by African Americans, as reported by the U.S. Census Bureau. And whereas we commend the visionary efforts of the historian John William Templeton, the engineer Frederick E. Jordan Sr., who founded National Black Business Month in August 2004, to drive the policy agenda affecting the 2.6 million African-American businesses. And whereas the Virginia Black Business Directory has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to empowering Black business owners through valuable programs and initiatives that foster higher productivity, increase success rates, and improve business education. And whereas the Virginia Black Business Directory's noble mission includes amplifying the exposure of small businesses, advancing the economic development and social equities of Black business owners, thereby contributing significantly to bridging the racial wealth gap through community collaboration, education and training programs, and resource navigation. And whereas the Town Council of Dumfries wishes to extend its heartfelt commendation and appreciation to the Virginia Black Business Directory for their exceptional contributions to the growth and success of Black-owned businesses within our community and beyond. Whereas the Virginia Black Business Expo and Conference, a remarkable multi-day event organized by the Virginia Black Business Directory, stands as a testament to their dedication in providing invaluable business growth opportunities and exposure to minority-owned business from the entire Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia region, offering essential network opportunities, relationship building, live demonstrations, business education from local industry efforts. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries does hereby officially designate the month of August as Black Business Month to honor and celebrate the achievements and resilience of Black-owned businesses and entrepreneurs. Furthermore, the Town Council extends its heartfelt commendations and appreciations to the Virginia Black Business Directory for their exceptional efforts in empowering Black business owners for their valuable contributions to the economic growth and social progress of our community. By order of the Town Council, signed, Mayor Derrick R. Wood.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for this amazing recognition. I came here with my board of directors, most of them. I don't leave home without them. So I would like to say thank you for recognizing us during National Black Business Month. It has been a blessing and an amazing journey leading the Virginia Black Business Directory with my wife, Tracy Hall, my sister in faith, Michelle Riddick, and our membership specialist, Davina Reynolds. The VABBD is an organization driving change and empowering the Black business community in Virginia. Our mission is simple yet profound: to showcase and uplift Black-owned businesses, foster economic growth, and promote inclusivity within our communities. Now, I say, imagine a world where a Black entrepreneur had an equal opportunity. I was asked that question when I spoke at another event, if we ever thought it would happen. Well, it's only going to continue to happen with the support of people like you supporting our organizations. Through our platform, we provide a space for businesses to shine. We are not only just a directory, we are a vibrant hub where entrepreneurs can connect with consumers, network with like-minded individuals, and access resources that will help them flourish. Our goal is to break down barriers and bridge gaps, fostering a supportive ecosystem that propels Black businesses towards success. The VABBD is about promoting economic empowerment, encouraging conscious consumerism, and ultimately creating a stronger, more inclusive economy. So again, I want to thank you. And if we all can join hands and celebrate the power of unity and Black businesses.
Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the July 11th, 2023 meetings and the July 25th, 2023 special meeting. Pages 4 and 8. I just want to note the one change, and I think you've already made the correction. Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any further discussion or amendments to it? Okay, seeing none, we'll call for the question. Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Peterson,
Yes.
Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem.
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Vice Mayor,
Yes.
and that's an abstain for me. Next on our agenda is the citizen comment period. Are there any citizens signed up to speak tonight?
Yes, sir. Miss Gwen Porter Washington.
You keep the time. So citizens, we'll have our citizens will have 3 minutes to speak. Our business owners will have 5 minutes to speak, or HOA representatives. And a clerk will keep the time and let you know where you are with the time. Thank you.
Very good.
Just give your name
And don't get excited because I have my little papers. I'm a talker. Those of you that know me know that. So in order to stay on task, I have to always have a little something here in front of me. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and citizens of the great town of Dumfries. My name is Gwen Porter Washington, and I live at 3948 Fairfax Street here in Dumfries, Virginia. I'm here tonight to speak in support of a letter that I submitted to the mayor and the council, asking that they would please consider naming the new recreation center when it is built out. If they would consider naming it in honor of my deceased husband and my children's deceased father. His name is Clyde N. Washington Jr. He served for 28 years here in the town of Dumfries on the council, 8 of those years as vice mayor. He also taught in the Prince William County school system, and he was a football coach for 25 years here in Prince William. And he was always a mentor of young men and young women. So for that reason, we feel as though that would be a great honor for him. And because of his love of the citizens of Dumfries, he always served them with hard work, dedication, and always with integrity. So we're asking that you would please consider that when you get your naming committee, that you would please let us know if you need another letter to follow up, or if you could share the letter we've already sent. We certainly would appreciate it. There are a couple of people here who are citizens in the town of Dumfries, and they wanted to also speak on this behalf.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman, citizens. I'm here on behalf of the Honorable Chris Brown, former mayor, as well. I'm going to speak because he said he couldn't make it, and he wanted me to speak on the proclamation for Mr. Washington as well. So I got 4 minutes, correct? Well, first of all, I want to apologize for my attire. I was in the woods about an hour ago and I couldn't get home. I live in Orange County. I'm a former employee here from the town of Dumfries, and I retired. I'm going to take you back to when I first met Clyde Washington. I was in the 8th grade at Jenny Dean High School. I got to see my first football game. My cousin, I was following him, James Porter. He was a halfback for Jenny Dean, one of the best, fastest halfback, man. I just knew he was going to show off that night. Well, he didn't. They had a player from Walker Grant named Clyde Washington ate his lunch. He tore that boy up. They were fighting. throwing mud at each other and cussing. Well, Clyde wasn't, Peter did. Well, I didn't like him. I said, man, he beat my poor cousin up. So advanced maybe 8 years later, word got out to our family that he married one of our cousins, one of our sweet, innocent cousins, Gwen Washington. And so I said, well, it won't last. But advanced to 1984, I started working at Dumfries, and I was like, how do I talk to this man? I don't like him for no reason other than football. But I came to enjoy his talks. He would ask me and Calvin Johnson, who was chief at the time, you know, what can we do to help you improve the safety of the town? There was never, ever a time that we asked him for something that he wouldn't go to bat for us. We might not have gotten it, but he always went to bat for us. And I recognize that man for not just being in the council, but in church. I would see him in church, the way he prayed and the way he was honest with his family. The little things that he did, the teaching in the community. The man came from Fredericksburg, but you would have never knew he was from Dumfries. So I know Dumfries has a lot of people with rich history here, and he's just one of them, but he's the one that I am standing here on behalf of myself and Chris Brown to recommend that he be, the building be named Clyde Washington. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Tony.
Somebody else was. Thank you. A good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chair, Pro Tem, and Council members. Also would like to add my voice in support of the proclamation, or the future proclamation, I'm hopeful, to name the building after Mr. Washington. I can speak specifically about how he interacted with me and taught me how to be a public servant. One of the first things he said to me after we ran was, he said, yeah, you run as a Democrat or a Republican or as an independent, but when you're elected, you represent all the people. That was something that I never forgot. This gentleman, for some reason, decided to mentor me. When I started to run, or he the one encouraged me to run, because I had served 8 years on the Planning Commission and 8 years on the Board of Zoning Appeals. So I'd been before the councils quite frequently, chairman, 8 years total. But this man said, man, you need to step up. And I realized when I was working with him that he had spent 28 years, as Mr. Reed said, in the back room with folks, convincing them and making sure that we had a voice. He took me around, met the McLaughlins, the young lady from Grayson Village, Harold and Kathy. All these people put my signs in their yard based on his support for me. And I won that election that time by 1 vote. So you'd think I would be here if it had not been for Mr. Clyde Washington. And then once we started having meetings, I saw how he operated in the back room. He never bragged. Quiet, collective, persuasive, getting decisions made. And I hope I was able to emulate some of that with him. You know, sometimes I get a little excited, people, but he was a magnificent person. There's no question in my mind how he has warranted this. He deserved this. As Mr. Reed said, there may be others, and I can't speak on the others, but I can say unequivocally that Mr. Clyde Washington, with his interest in the community, young folks, as a coach, mentor, as a public servant, his actions speak for themselves. And I am proud to stand here to say to you all, some of you all know where I'm at. If it hadn't been for him, it would not have been a Willie Tony. So again, thank you for hearing me, and hopefully we can have your support.
Madam Clerk.
No one else tonight, sir.
Checking, anyone come in did not get the opportunity to sign in? Okay. This time we'll close up the citizen comment period and we'll move into mayor and council comments. Okay. Councilman Pete?
Okay, first I want to say, send some warm regards out to our officers, chief and our town manager and Officer Campos and Officer McCullough. And I don't know if any of the council know, any of our citizens know that they're out right now due to some injuries, but we're praying on them for a speedy recovery. You know, another thing as we get ready to get into our school months and getting ready for our school months, you know, I'm real big with the kids. I just believe, as always, my motto is the kids are our future. So I would ask that everyone be mindful and watching the children as they move out and about, because they run between them cars pretty often. And also check your neighbors. If your neighbor don't have any supplies, or if there's some children out and about within our communities that don't have any supplies, reach out to some of us or some of our local churches in the community with Pastor Henry over there at Winners Church up there by McDonald's there. And we can see if these children can get the proper supplies that they need to start off their school year properly. Also, I want to say, when we get the moment and when we get the chance to move forward with the community center, I believe that we're going to have a great support, Ms. Washington, for your husband and getting this in the building named after your husband. Willie Tony, I want to say thank you for that speech there, because it kind of reminds me of maybe some of the council members can eye on this also, that when we were once at a point of time where we needed a mentor to get onto council, and we didn't have that, but you stepped up. You showed us the way and how to be who we are now today, and to move on with some of the children of our future also, and some of our interns that are working with us and everything. And I just want to say thank you guys for that speech there, because without knowing the history of some of the residents within this town here, we won't know. But thank you for the insight on Mr. Washington, as we look forward to try to gain a unanimous support to get this building named after him. And my biggest thing is that we get it open for these children. Mayor, on that, I yield.
Councilman Brown? Mayor, I don't have any prepared remarks, but I would just like to say to the citizens of Dumfries, just a pitch for our farmers market. Please come out and support our farmers market on Saturday 9 to 1, correct? 2 to 2. I try to come out every weekend just to support those vendors that coming out. They come from far distances, and they're not making a lot of money compared to the distance that they have to travel, but they come in here on behalf of the citizens of Dumfries. And if we don't use them when they come, next year it's going to be harder to get them back. So please come out and support. They do have fresh vegetables and fruit that's off the chain. So come on and get you some fresh fruit and vegetables. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't say anything about this event down in Alabama. I don't condone violence in any form, fashion. But this country is in a place that we need to quickly move away from. That scenario in Alabama is all over the country. There is a divide. There's wrongdoing on both sides of the racial barrier, and two wrongs doesn't make a right. So I don't condone violence, but let's take care of each other. And with that, Mayor, I yield back. Councilman Fields.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, good evening again to everyone looking, listening, and hearing. I want to retract the last month that we had here in Dumfries. What a great month. What a great month to start it off with our Fox 5 team zip trip that came to town. I think that's the biggest event this park has ever seen. It is the biggest event Dumfries has probably ever seen. And if you didn't get to see it, go pull it up online. If you didn't hear about it, I apologize. But if you can listen to me or anyone else now and follow us on our social media, we put it out there. And I do apologize for the ones that didn't receive it or get it, but hearing about it later, it's always there in the archives. Go look at it. It was a blast. Further, this summer we had the fireworks, and last week we had the National Night Out going into August. Oh man, that was wonderful. I think that's one of the best that we've had here in a long time. A long time. It's getting back almost to how we used to do it back in the day with National Night Out, and the communities came out. But instead of having each community have their own thing, everything was right here. Again, it got people to come out. It got people to come to our town. It got our local vendors involved and our local police and fire and rescue, and all these people were involved. It just was a wonderful event. Again, if you missed it, I apologize. But follow either one of us on our social media. The town social media is always updating, and our town clerk does a wonderful job with that to keep us abreast of what's going on. And it's just great. It's just really great to be a part of the town at this time and to enjoy the things that we have going on. Back to school is coming up quicker than I think. I'm glad my kids are grown. I don't have to worry about it. Maybe just, my grandson, that's probably it. But we have a lot of activities coming up with back to school events, so forth and so on. Our summer interns, glad to have you. And I hear that you guys are doing just a wonderful job. Definitely keep up the work. And in the future, you might have a job here in the town of Dumfries. So enjoy. I'm not going to talk anymore. So everyone have a great rest of summer. Be safe. And let's keep it going.
Councilwoman Peterson,
I don't have anything.
Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, citizens. I'm going to be very brief. I definitely want to thank the chief and the police department for a successful National Night Out. It just gets better and better every year, and I see all the work you and your officers put into it, in addition to keeping us safe. So I just want to thank you, and looking forward to what y'all come up with next year. And, no pressure, but just looking forward to that. Also, to the children that are going back to school, there are a couple of events that are taking place. This Saturday at Freedom High School, there's a back to school giveaway. So every year, Delegate King, along with Vice Mayor and some other community organizations, put that together where they give out book bags and school supplies as a community fund day. And in addition to that, on the 20th, right in Ginn Park, we will be hosting a back to school drive. So it's plenty of opportunities for our children to get their school supplies and getting the school year started off right. So with that, I yield.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone about the back to school event that Pro Temp Miles mentioned. I am proud to be one of the members of the committee who puts together this event. This will be our third annual event for the back to school. It is a very large event. It has grown in size, so much so that this year's event will span 2 days. And it has grown to become not only a back to school backpack giveaway and community event, but it also includes health screenings for physicals as well as dental. And so vaccines are going to be available for students. And it has become such a large event and so very community focused in an effort to get all of our students across the county ready for school. So again, vaccines will be available as well as dental visits and appointments are being set up because we have had the kindness of dental professionals to commit their time to providing dental appointments for the community as well. So you can check my social media, you can check Prince William Community Foundation, for more information so you can figure out where you can go to bring your children to sign up for it, to get involved. And up to the very last minute, we are always accepting donations. The Community Foundation is always accepting donations because each year this event gets bigger and bigger. And last year it was at the commuter lot at 234 on Route 1. And this year it will be held at Freedom High School, and it is this Saturday. So tell your neighbors, tell your friends, show up. And if you are not in need, but you are blessed and can give, please give. Thank you.
All right, I want to start off by, again, giving my condolences out to the Campbell family of Dumfries, but not in the town of Dumfries, for their sudden loss of a husband, a father. He was a talented chef. He was the personal chef to the Obamas. And I wanted to send our love and thoughts to his wife, Sharice, and their twin boys, 21 years old, Xavier and Savion. They had their services last week. Their homegoing was over at First Mount Zion. Got to see those two young men get up there and give remarks. It was touching. It was a little sweat came under my eyes, but it was just a little sweat. His chef mentor spoke. President Obama spoke, and Pastor Lundy of Ebenezer gave a beautiful eulogy of him. I want to jump into some of the updates and accomplishments. I think Councilman Fields was looking at my paper over the course of July and August. I want to start off by thanking all the community for coming out with so much energy and so much spunk to our Fox 5 Zip Trip. I think it took over 3 years of interviews and saying it over and over to a lot of those producers and anchors that they were coming to Dumfries, that we made it manifest, and they gave us a chance to really spotlight and showcase the town of Dumfries. So you all showed up and showed out. I want to thank the sponsors of our fireworks, Churchill Downs, for the wonderful firework display for our community, and shout out to Prince William County Public Schools for allowing us to use their parking lot this year to shoot off the fireworks. There's a normal location that we shoot them off was under construction. And so we had a very last minute audible to make that happen. In July, I had the pleasure of doing a little traveling. I sat on a panel for the Veteran Business Owner panel at the invitation of Elected Officials Protecting America. And this event was hosted by the Department of Energy's Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, the annual DOE Small Business Forum and Expo. I had the privilege to meet Secretary Jennifer Granholm, who our chair pro tem met her when she was the governor of the great state of Michigan. And she was the first female attorney general of Michigan as well. I think she served 2 terms, the only 2-term woman to serve governor. She was a great, gracious host and speaker at that event. I also had the privilege with the chair pro tem and vice mayor to attend the National League of Cities summer board meeting and leadership meeting, which was hosted by the VML president, Mayor Victoria Woodard of Tacoma, Washington. It was an amazing experience where we were surrounded with dedicated elected officials from across this nation. I had the opportunity to represent as a member of the Small Cities Council and on the Community and Economic Development Federal Policy Committee. It allowed me to have a voice at that table and advocate for the needs of our cherished town of Dumfries and other cities and towns in the nation. It was very heartwarming to see how everyone came together to share ideas, and we all worked towards a common goal for our communities. There was a lot of learning. There was a lot of networking. There was invaluable information. And I connected with some passionate individuals as well who are also committed to making a positive impact in their communities. Again, I want to thank the police department and the community for that phenomenal National Night Out. We could not have asked for a better turnout and better weather. The day started out, for those who got there on time, with some mouth-watering barbecue. The air and the aroma was filled. It was accompanied by, there were snowballs out there. There were ice cream treats. And I seen it brought smiles to everyone's face. People got their face painted. There was laughter of kids and adults out there throughout our park over here. And there was a lot of activities. Then there was music that added to the festivities, giving people. I saw my mom come over and get the what is it, the line dance, or all of the dances started. And so she danced for about an hour straight. As the day unfolded, at the end, the mayor and the council then did a caravan with our police officers, and we went out into the community to really give out treats and trinkets and spread joy to a lot of the kids. And, you know, we have a lot of youth and young people in this community. We hit up a lot of the communities. And what was a joy is when we pulled up with the siren blazing, it was a sign for the kids not to run, but the kids ran up to the car. And, you know, we got to see kids from the Highland Park Town Square community to the Porter Dumfries community to Williamstown, and even South Cole, 2 different pockets. There was so many kids out, and they ran to the vehicles to see us and not away from the vehicles. It just shows the sense of community that we're building. I just want to say, Dumfries, your enthusiasm right now for building a safer and more connected community is truly inspiring to me. And so I think National Night Out is just one of those events that continue to bring us closer together, working hand in hand with the community that we all are taking pride in. And then last week, I had the opportunity of hosting both U.S. Senator Tim Kaine for a meaningful roundtable discussion with some of the veteran business owners in the area, as well as meeting right here in the town hall with our own Congresswoman, Abigail Spanberger, to share with her some of the strategies and goals and some of the strategic planning that the council is going through right now. And she had a willingness to hear and to learn what was important here in the town of Dumfries. And for her to come out here and for Senator Tim Kaine to reach out and want to come to this community says a lot about the impact that I think we are making. The host 2 U.S. representatives, both a sitting representative and a sitting senator, says a lot to how far the town of Dumfries has come. I want to congratulate our young people. I'm going to ask our interns to stand up. Please stand up, interns. We appreciate each and every one of you and your willingness to learn and to grow. Are we missing somebody? Oh, so okay. Okay, all right, you can sit down. All right. I want to say, finally, I want to encourage all of our young people as they prepare to go back to school. Your capacity to learn is a gift. Your ability to learn is a skill, and your willingness to learn is a choice. Every day, I want you to continue to choose to learn something new, and every day you'll get a little bit better. This month's quote, as I close, comes from my mentor, the late, great Dr. Miles Monroe. It's a leadership quote, and it's how I define my leadership skills and my leadership ability. And Dr. Monroe would say, leadership is the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by a passion, generated by a vision that was produced by a conviction, and it was ignited with purpose. Next on our agenda is reports and presentations. And our first report will be Ms. Myra Miles from the Management and Governmental Information Center from the Prince William County Public Libraries. I found this very interesting.
Hi, good evening, everyone, council, mayor, vice mayor, chair pro tem. My name is Myra Miles. I'm with the Magic Department at Chin Park Library. We stand for Management and Government Information Center. I am accompanied here by my supervisor, Kathy Lavallee, who's in charge of the Magic Department. So thank you for having us, and we'll keep this brief. Magic is a 3-person department, including myself, Kathy Lavallee, and Eva Gunya. So Magic, we specialize, is a specialized department within Prince William Public Libraries, and we focus on the research and information needs of Prince William County, City of Manassas, Town of Dumfries, and the local business community and nonprofit community. We follow the ALA Code of Ethics. We protect your privacy. So if you access if you request a question from us, we're not going to share that with anyone else. And who uses us? County agencies. And some of the questions that they have asked us and we've answered are guidelines and policies from other jurisdictions, policy on therapy dogs and animals, and the history of Dumfries Library. So agency perks are interlibrary loans, scholarly articles, and the community also uses us. And some of the questions that they have asked us is how to start a business in Prince William County, finding grants for nonprofits, a list of physicians in the area, and demographic information. We have a digital library that have many resources that you can utilize. And these are just some examples of those. And we have a grant database. If you're looking for grants for a nonprofit community, for a nonprofit business, we have that. And we help the local business community. We do industry reports for them. They've asked about target advertising, customers, competition, and community profile. So this is an example of an industry overview that we provide to the local business community. So growth planning, we give them that information. Competition, see what their competitors are doing. Barriers to entry. And we are a FIN partner with Candid. So again, we have that foundation directory at Chin Park Library that gives a list of grant makers for the nonprofit community. And lastly, Magic has a web page. You can feel free to reach out to us through email or phone call. We have a Magic form where you can ask us a question, provide your email, and we'll get back to you. And if you need any assistance with business research or training on our digital databases, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We love helping the community. And so whatever we can to do as far as your research needs, we would like to do that for you. And that is all.
I think your sister wants to ask you a question. Oh.
Yes, Chair Pro Tem.
All right, man. Great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, excellent. I just have a question for you in terms of businesses. If a business is starting up and they come to you for that basic information, those basic reports, is there a fee that Prince William County charges for that?
How could I forget that? Thank you, big sis. It's free. We're inside the library system, so it is free. All of our services are free.
And do you have to live in Prince William County or be currently doing business in Prince William County to access these services, or do you support other jurisdictions that are looking to come here?
So we don't turn anyone away. We help them to the best of our ability. We do focus servicing, Prince William County, but we don't turn anyone away.
Thank you.
Is this only available at the Chin Center, or can we get this like satellite remote at the Dumfries Library, or we have to come to the Chin Center?
Well, you can, so the department is in Chin Park Library, but if you can access us through any of the libraries through our form on our webpage, or give us a call, but we are a department inside Chin Park Library.
Councilman Brown.
Thank you for your presentation. The LexisNexis database, can anyone come in and use that, or you have to, someone at the library have to go in and use the system?
So,
So we actually do the searches for you, and we are not law librarians, but we can use the database. So we can do the legal research in terms of getting that case. But we're not going to give legal advice, or so more the database is there to get the information out, cases, things like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
We pay for that and it's expensive. That's why I want to know.
Yeah, yeah. So
Can I
we
just
have-
come over there?
We specialize databases to assist the business community, but also the government employees and elected officials. And we do those searches for you. So you don't need to physically come into the library. Just email us your question. We're more than happy to do the research for you, get you that information you need to succeed as council members and also as the business community.
That piece, used LexisNexis, that piece.
Thank y'all for y'all great presentation. We'll make sure the citizens see this again on a loop.
thank you.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Next is our town manager's report and introduction.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of Town Council. Briefly, you have before you all, my town manager's report. I just want to report as of for July, we have improved our customer service times down to 5% in the DMV. Accounts payable is now being processed within 3 days. We have the zoning applications are now being processed within 2 days. And I wanted to highlight that the police department has decreased violent crime by 13%. I also want to take a brief moment to have some recruitment updates. The town has promoted Ms. Amanda Carvalho to Deputy Town Manager, effective July 1st. As the mayor had already said, we have hired 4 youth interns who began with the town on July 31st. We also had hired our part-time human resources administrator who begins with the town on August 14th. The town has interviewed 3 candidates for the planning and community development director, and we have extended an offer who the person has accepted, and they will be starting with the town on August 21st. And the town has also hired its chief financial officer. And lastly, the chief financial officer has conducted interviews for a senior accountant, and we hope this selection will be made by August 14th. These are some of the things that we committed it to in the budget process to have some government operational efficiencies for you guys. Briefly, we have the 2 RFPs that we were tasked with presenting. One was for the comprehensive plan. The town has shortlisted 3 of the competitive proposals, and we're having formal interviews during the week of August 14th. And as it relates to the class comp study, we hope to shortlist during the week of August 14th. We received 14 proposals for that particular project. So we are reviewing those proposals currently. In discussions in regards to some events, I'm not going to repeat some that the council had said, but I wanted to make sure we highlight on August 12th, during the hours of 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we are having Ginn Park cleanup. And on September 23rd, during the hours of 9 to 4 p.m., the town will be hosting our fall festival at Garrison Park. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, council, any questions?
Just one comment.
Okay.
So I don't want to overlook the reduction in violent crime rate. Any reduction is great, but we're talking 13% over a month. That's thank for the chief and the police staff and also the citizens. So again, I don't condone any type of violence. I'm very keen to what's going on around not just Dumfries, but in Prince William County. In Dumfries, there's 3 Dumfries in Dumfries. But they all look like Dumfries. So I'm very in tune with what crime. And I just want to thank the citizens that we did have a decrease in calls. That's you all. The police cannot decrease crime. We citizens, that's our job. So just want to note that. town manager.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman Phillips.
Town manager,
Yes, sir.
for the public, can you tell us now how many weeks, months you've been here?
How many?
How many weeks or months you've been here now?
Oh, gosh, I started on April
Oh, boy.
Are you happy?
April 24th. No, I'm just trying to think. I think I started April 14th or so. So
Okay.
almost
Okay.
6.
Where I'm going with this
No,
is
I can't add right now.
for our citizens,
Yes, sir.
if you can't see where this town is going, listen to that report and you can see where this town is heading. So heading in a positive direction, most definitely. And we've been saying that for years. And for us to acquire a town manager that sees the vision that we see, and see the vision that you all see, and you can see it in the work already, I think it's saying something. So like I told the town manager and some other people a while back, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the ride. I'm not gonna say very much, see what happens.
Thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. The Planning and Community Development Director, can you tell me a little bit about that person's responsibilities?
So the Planning Community Development Director will oversee, we'll look at the different planning efforts throughout the town. They will help us focus on different strategic plans. They will oversee the zoning administrator and make some revisions to town code and ordinances, ma'am. And land use as well. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Follow-on question to that is, with regard to zoning and ordinances and what have you, are there certain education requirements or certification requirements for that position?
Yes,
that this
there are.
person holds?
Yes.
Would you
Yes.
mind sharing that, please?
I don't have his resume with me, but he does have 30 years of experience. He has been a director, planning manager. He has also overseen economic development. He has a degree from Morehouse University in urban planning as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, what is your current process for handling the citizens and the business owners complaints? People want to know what's the best process, how do they nominate the time, and how do they follow up type of situation?
Sure. So as of right now, what we're operating on via email where we receive complaints. We have received estimates to go into an electronic GoGov mechanism where the citizens will be able to send their complaint and it will push out to the various town staff. We're in the process of approving that quote as we speak. So I'm thinking within the next few weeks, we should have that implemented, and then we'll be able to send out communication to the citizens and let them be able to do electronic version of complaints or get information from the town.
So currently, right now, it's just
It's
email.
via email, telephone call to the various staff.
And who tracks the follow-up? Do you get them all, or is it just goes directly? You know, for example, I've gotten the same complaint about some dirt on Possum Point Road and a bent sign like five or six times, and I'm just trying to figure out
Yes, sir.
how we're tracking that and how we're following up so that
I will develop a process to track every complaint. I will ask that if any of you receive those complaints, if y'all can make sure I receive a copy of it, I will make sure I create a tracking mechanism and report out to the council on it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm coming to you now. Come back. Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a request. I had gotten some feedback from a couple of citizens about our community station not appearing on FiOS or Verizon. And I know the staff have been working on that previously. If we could just get an update on that, where we stand and when we can look forward to getting back on.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you. So the GoGov is something that I had asked the interim town manager about a few months ago.
Mhm.
So I heard you say that is, you all are working on implementing that.
Mhm.
So before we get to that point, will you all do another presentation to let us know what parts of the GoGov we are actually implementing? Because I know that is a very vast system and there are different parts that we can pick and choose from.
Yes, ma'am.
as far as how we put it together to
Mhm.
tailor it for our citizens and what we're going to use.
Okay.
So I would love to see what parts we chose to go with as far as what best serves our citizens here.
Yes, I could, well, I'll see if we can have the presentation for September. I'll
Thank
meet in
you.
September. Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Pete.
Town manager,
Yes, sir.
I love the report. Great, well put together. One concern that I have is, I like the fact that we're moving towards the GoGov as we spoke some time ago, with Vice Mayor leading the way on that. I want to know when would the newsletter get out?
Oh.
Also an attachment to that, I'm seeing that at some of our events that we're having a gap in our attendance a little bit. And I was wondering, what is our avenue to reach out to every door within this community as far as notification goes? Can we look into a what is that, Blackboard? Maybe what is the name of that? Blackboard. What it used to do was it would what we needed to get out to the residents, it would give their house phone a call.
Okay.
Something like that. Also, I see what we're trying to go with the GoGov and trying to get the community notified and engaged into what's going on around here. My main concern is making sure every citizen gets what's going on around here, because to the statement of that was the biggest event, that was one of the biggest events. I have seen this town blow some events away. So as I'm out there with our events, I'm looking at what are avenues to where we can get our residents and participants out to these events. Even if when we do have events, I'm in the community a little bit still sometimes. I still see a lot of residents out and about. So that's one of my main concerns is the newsletter, more so every resident's door of notification of how, when, where we're having our events that are just within this town. That's all.
Sure.
Thank you.
In regards to the newsletter, we have received the final draft of the newsletter, and Ms. Hill was tweaking that today. So I'm thinking she should have that out by the end of this week. As it relates to notifications to our citizens and getting to the doors, I will research and come up with a mechanism to make sure all of our citizens are notified of different events in the town.
Right, because thank you. That's excellent. Because as I see that we're getting the information out, but it's going to the homeowners.
Yes.
And the homeowners are not necessarily living within the homes of some of these rental houses. So now we have that's why I'm seeing a percentage or gap of attendance in some of our events. And I'm trying, I don't know where, but if we could come up with a route to bridge that gap to get this information to the doorstep of our residents and citizens.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Seeing no more discussion on that, I'll let you do, you already did your introduction of your employees? Are you okay? All right.
Sorry.
I heard you mention it, so I didn't know if that was the introduction. Go ahead.
Okay, so as I previously stated, we do have our interns, and as part of their teaching, we are going through public speaking. So I'm going to ask that they come up and introduce themselves to the council and the public. They just let us know their names and which school they're attending, and y'all could come up here.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Jalen Waddell, and I go to Forest Park.
Thank you, Jalen.
You are.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Kamaya and I attend Forest Park as well.
Thank you, Kamaya.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lyric Howard. I also attend Forest Park.
Thank you, Lyric. Okay, next, we had, as I previously stated, Amanda Carballo has been promoted to our deputy town manager, and I thought it would be best for her to come up and introduce herself deputy town clerk, I keep doing that, to the council, so y'all know that she is assisting Ms. Hill in her functions. So Ms. Amanda?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Amanda Carballo. I will be serving as Deputy Town Clerk with the Town of Dumfries. I will be reporting under Ms. Tangi Hill, the Town Clerk and Director of Civic Engagement. I'm looking forward to working with you all. Thank you.
And last but not least, we have our new Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Stacy Jordan, and she'll give you a few words to introduce herself.
Sorry about that. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, town manager. I'm very excited to be joining the team of Dumfries, and I look forward to helping the town reach their strategic goals to include transparent financials, structurally balanced budgets, on-time annual comprehensive financial reports, a strong fund balance, and achieve Triple Crown Award as well as a bond rating increase. So far, we have implemented monthly cash flow analysis, reporting, and have also begun monitoring revenue and expenditures weekly to ensure that we are not overspending and we're being good stewards of the residents of the town of Dumfries money. We are also working on amending the fiscal year 24 budget to be more in line with revenues based off of a 4-year comparison. But thank you.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, in adherence with my healthy eating, active living, I give a 5-minute stretch break, and then we'll come back. So we'll take a recess and come back when the big hand's on the 4. I'll start. All right, I'm gonna call the meeting back to order. Next on our agenda is action item. First action item is proposed amendments. Oh, I guess I gotta wait for the town attorney, huh? Don't I?
Sorry.
Before we open the public hearing. All right, so we're gonna do a proposed amendments to the town code sections 2-80 and 2-83 regarding the town manager's authority and related matters, including amendments relating, thank you, to the positions of the town clerk, town treasurer, and town attorney. And then after we hear any remarks from the attorney, we will open it up for a public hearing. All right, our first action item A is the proposed amendments to the town code sections 2-80 and 2-83 regarding the town manager's authority related to matters, including amendments related to the positions of town clerk, town treasurer, and town attorney. Ms. Pandek, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll give a brief summary, and then if there are questions, the town council had directed that I consult with the town manager and prepare the proposed amendments to Town Code sections 2-80 and 2-83. They regard the town manager's authority and related matters, including once those amendments are made, some adjustments to the positions of town clerk and town treasurer, and to the language regarding the town attorney. I understand, although Ms. Ennis can speak for herself, that she's comfortable with the changes. In short, pursuant to the amendments, the town clerk will be supervised by the town manager, but will report to the town council on matters related directly to the council. The town treasurer will report to the town manager. The town attorney will continue to report directly to the town council. The clerk, treasurer, and town attorney will continue to be appointed to the town council. I also made a few other amendments for clarification or to capture policies such as with respect to the flexibility on the presentation of the budget and other amendments to reconcile with the changes that I've just discussed. These amendments are consistent with the authority provided by the Code of Virginia and also with the authority from the town charter. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions before we open this up for a public hearing from the council? Okay. Seeing no questions on the matter, I will now open up the public hearing. Are there any members of the public hearing, signed up to speak in regards to amending town code sections 2-80 and 283 regarding
No,
the
sir.
town manager's authority?
I'm sorry. No, sir, not tonight.
All right. Were there any citizens that came in that needed opportunity to speak to that? All right, seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. Council, any questions or discussions on the matter? Chair Pro Tem.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a motion to approve the changes to the ordinance.
So
Second.
it's been motioned and second that we adopt the proposed amendments to town code sections 2-80 and 283 regarding the town's matters authority related to matters including amendments relating to the positions of town clerk, treasurer, and town attorney on a motion made by Chair Pro Tem and second by Vice Mayor. I will now call for the question, barring no other discussions. Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And that is a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. Next is a resolution amending the town manager's employment agreement. Town attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The amendments to the town manager's employment agreement are to now adjust that agreement so it is consistent with the changes to the town code that the council just adopted. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay. Vice Mayor? No? Yeah. Councilman Fields?
Sir, I'll make a motion that we move on with this resolution, amending town manager's employment agreement.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second. Any discussion on the motion and the second? Seeing no discussion, I'll call for the question. Councilman Brown? Aye. Councilwoman Peterson?
Aye.
Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And that is a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. Next on our action items is a resolution for endorsement of the Prince William County's application to the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority. Public Works Director, Janae Provost-White. She here? The floor is yours, madam.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. My name is Janae Provost-White. I'm the Director of Public Works. This is just an endorsement for Prince William County to apply for a 6-year funding grant from MVTA for a transportation hub at the end of the routes that it exists at Grand Park Road and Old Triangle Road. It will consist of choking down the road, which basically is putting the road on a diet, meaning that Grand Park Road will no longer be 2 lanes in each way. It'll just be 1. And then a new lane will be created, a pull-off for up to 3 buses. And it'll have new bus shelters and lockers and bike racks so that when commuters get off, there's some amenities there for them. It's kind of appeals to the walkable community, public transportation, and the biking community. So I don't have a cost yet. They haven't applied for the grant. They needed our endorsement first. It's my understanding that will be considerable amount of funding and it won't be any cost to the town out of pocket for this.
But I add, as a member of Northern Virginia Transportation, this is procedural for all of the projects that we get in, is to get endorsements from the localities which they come in as it weighs into how these projects get funded with grants from Northern Virginia Transportation Authority. Councilman Pete?
We're shrinking Grand Park to add in a service road for the bus.
It's a pull-off area.
So we're taking away a lane. Can we, do we have enough space there to put that right there without taking away? We have plenty of woods right there.
No, because that's not our property. That's private property. That's Highland Park.
All right, any other questions?
There'll also be some safety improvements. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. There'll also be some safety improvements. When I first came to the town, not too long before I got here, I believe there was a fatality at that intersection. And so it's been a concern of mine and the citizens that there be some improvements. The previous town manager and I worked to try to get grants to put some improvements like flashing stop signs and things like that, but we weren't able to get those grants. Now Prince William County is kind of stepping in and doing that for us to do some safety improvements. So to make the intersection safety for pedestrians and bikers alike.
Will we get a chance to see that diagram of how it's going to look like before?
Oh, absolutely. This is just an endorsement to get the money.
I'm a little torn off a little bit about shrinking Grand Park Road to add in a service road for the buses.
Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just some context. I know you weren't asking me, but I'm just gonna throw it out there because I actually have to serve on MVTA's Planning Advisory Coordinating Committee. And this is something that's key because of the fatality. It's not just a service road for the buses to be serviced. What they're actually going to do is become more ADA compliant. In addition to that, we'll have bike racks for people, and it's going to service that community specifically. That with the expansion of PRTC, we're going to have different routes that go to Fetler Park. We're going to have different routes that go further up Route 1 and further down Old Triangle. So that's going to be a game changer for that community that, you know, we're really encouraging folks to take transit for the environment and to cut down on issues that people have in traffic. It's really going to be, I know it sounds off, but really what it does is it just makes it more public transportation more accessible. And that's going to be really key for that community over there where I live at. And somebody that caught the bus for many years, it's going to be, it's a positive change. It seems like we're taking away, but we're actually adding to because it'll be more opportunity. So just wanted to throw that out there.
That area is also a terminus. So you got to think of it like as people, that you either start or begin at that route and it takes you through to the other end. So if we don't do it, think of, they'll be doing the improvements on the Prince William side. So when they come to Dumfries, it's nothing, right? So now we're going to be able to keep up with improvements, transportation improvements like they're doing all around the county. So think about safety and somebody crossing the street. Is it safer to cross the street where you only have to look out for one car coming in each direction or two cars coming in each direction? Right? So it is a safety improvement as well as it's in keeping with the destination Dumfries. You want people to come here, you want it to look nice, you want it to be amenable to people using public transportation, coming into the town and getting out of the town. So you were talking about the message getting out to people about the things that the town is doing. Now people can get on the bus and come here and partake in everything that the town is trying to do, not just the citizens of the town.
Councilman Fields.
One thing that hasn't changed on Grand Park Road since me being in the town and being on the police department is traffic. And the speed of traffic and the amount of foot traffic that we have there. I too, as an officer, former officer in the town, have worked plenty of accidents there. Thank goodness in my time, no fatalities, but plenty of fender benders, speeding tickets, stop sign running. I would be the one to be on foot at the stop sign, just watching people see if they stop. So definitely this would be a great safety enhancement to that area. It would cut down on the speeding. It would cut down on the unsafe foot traffic. Foot traffic is not going to stop, but it will cut down on the unsafe foot traffic. So I'm all for it. Thank you.
Councilman Pete.
I like the idea.
Turned it off.
I like the idea. Safety first, you know, I'm there first. But I ask that we also, while we do this, that if we're going to add into look into adding a bike rack, that we also look into the sidewalk walkability around here and within the town also. That's all.
All right, with that, we're looking for a motion to endorse the Prince William County's application for Northern Virginia Transportation Authority. Okay.
Second.
It's been moved, second by the Vice Mayor. Moved by Councilman Brown. Seeing no further discussion, I'll call for the question. Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the town manager to advertise public hearings on the conditional use permit application 2023-001 for Winners Church. Nick, the principal planner. Just to advertise a public hearing.
Yes, so all this request is tonight before council is to set the planning commission and town council hearing dates for this application. The proposed planning commission dates would be August 14th. And the date proposed date would be August 14th for planning commission, which is next Monday, and then September 5th for town council. So that's all I have for this item.
So moved,
Mr.
sir.
Mayor, I don't have any problem with the initiation. I want to make sure we check the public hearing requirements so they meet the new code section.
Yes, they do. I've already advertised for them just in case.
All right, when you said next.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
Okay, now.
yep.
Clear, thank you.
So just for clarification, I advertised already just in case, they were approved. And starting July 1st, there were some code amendments to the state code when it came to the public hearing requirements, which this public hearing will meet for August 14th. So we're good. Yep.
Okay, sorry, what was your motion? Just to move.
So moved, sir.
Okay,
Second.
all right, Vice Mayor.
Yes.
No, you had.
Oh,
you
yeah.
had- No, okay, it's been moved and second. Was there any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing no discussion, I would now call for the question. Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Brown. Aye. Councilwoman Peterson.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem.
Aye.
Councilman Pete.
Yes.
Mr. Fields.
Yes.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries. All right. Planning Commission, August 14th, council public hearing, the 5th. All right. Next on the agenda is establishing members of the naming committee. Councilman Sean Pete. It's nothing in there.
What?
You got it. It's nothing in there.
Yeah, there's nothing in there. Well, I like to set a motion that we establish the naming committee for all public buildings and what is it, facilities within the town.
So let me give a little background. The town has adopted a naming policy, and our naming policy, it calls for the establishment of a naming committee. The naming committee will consist of the mayor, the vice mayor, 2 council members, and the town manager. What is it? What does it say?
It's the mayor.
She's gonna read it. Can you read it?
Sure.
Because
It says the mayor, hold on. The naming committee will consist of the mayor, the town manager, and 2 town council members appointed by the town council.
All right, so we need to, as we do for our MVT, our MVRC, our planning coordinator, we need the council to nominate members from the thing, and then it will work. So we just need 2 names, and then we can vote on that. That would be the proper procedure.
I nominate Sean Pete as one of the members on the naming committee.
You nominate yourself.
Well, as far as that goes, I'll nominate myself too.
Yeah, my life.
Okay.
They got their light.
Yeah, I know 2 people nominating themselves.
So we still have to vote on.
We go- Nominated for the naming committee. Councilman Fields and Councilman Pete. Councilman Brown, you have a question?
I want to nominate myself also.
Okay, there's a third. Oh, this will be a better. Chair Pro Tem.
Yeah, I have a point of order.
Hmm?
Can you nominate yourself for a position? You
Yes,
can.
we
that's-
can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can, yeah.
Okay, we've just never done that before. I'm just wondering, okay?
This is new.
All right. So,
Do we need a naming committee?
it's in our policy. We created a policy to have a way.
Because
to-
even as I look at the policy, I look at it as a drawn out blockage for no reason. When this can just come to council for a vote of discussion and we move forward with that. I believe we're throwing it back to a naming committee for no reason. It's like, what for? if the council was going, as of, I believe that the 7 can come up with a, a name for a building or rename it.
So I want to retract, my nomination. But the point I was trying to make, I don't think this don't seem like the right forum to do this. To nominate and vote on.
Well, it is a public conversation. If we do have the conversation, to establish it, to come out, it would be a resolution, but it was, I don't think seeing this, we know, because we didn't have any documentation, any notes, anything.
So is it safe to table this until next meeting so we can get some better discussion on this?
Is that what you want to do? Do you want to table your conversation? It's your item.
I want to say yes. So we have some clarity and conversation and language with this, and we can come to the dais with something that makes sense.
Vice Mayor, you have.
So if we, I just want to understand what is it that we're tabling, because one of the things that you just said resonated with me when you said, why are we doing a committee? And we all voted, obviously, to put this committee in place. But now that you say it out loud, what resonates with me is the bureaucracy. That's what this turns out to be, because what we're doing now is we've created a process for the process, and it makes the process longer when we have a committee, we do this, we do that. Ultimately, we still end up at public hearing, which is the opportunity for the public to weigh in with their comments. And even before we get to public hearing, like what we saw this evening is when the public knows that it's something that we're going to weigh in on, they submit their letters, they speak to us, they make their phone calls, and that's how the process ends up working, regardless of whether or not we have a committee. So if we can cut the bureaucracy and the red tape and skip this part and simply, okay, we have a facility that we want to be named, and go through the process that we would for anything else, which is a public hearing.
Yes.
Then that could take out this extra step. Even though we did just vote on this, but like I said, hearing him say it out loud, it just, to me, lengthens an unnecessary process. It creates more red tape. And working for the government, red tape is the bane of the existence of the government. It's the red tape that slows everything down.
Correct.
Things are in place for a reason, and I understand that. But if the end goal or the end of the finish line, it ends up being a public hearing, and the public has the opportunity to submit their suggestions and their weigh-ins about it, there's a way to do it without going with all this back and forth, is my opinion. So at this point, I'm thinking the conversation, if we're going to table today's conversation, the conversation should be whether or not we need this.
Need it done, whether we need that or not. So Ms. Panday, what would be the proper procedure with, I know we did vote on the naming procedures with omitting the naming committee out of that policy.
Well, you can certainly amend that policy. It doesn't require advertisement. It doesn't require a public hearing to come back and amend the policy. You probably, since it was not on the agenda tonight to amend the policy, it would make sense to perhaps table or defer it with directions on bringing it back, but it's within your control as.
I like to make a motion that we eliminate the naming committee out of this policy.
So I got it.
If there's a motion, is there a second? If not, it fails. Just.
But before we vote,
He's made the motion, so we either got a second or not second. If he doesn't get a second, then I'll move to.
If I might, we actually had a motion to table first, so if you're rescinding that to do.
I would like to rescind that first motion,
Thank you, then we're now.
and then I would like to
adding the
move
second.
on with, well, Councilman, you had something to say before that, right?
So you're rescinding your table motion.
The first one, correct?
Okay, Councilman Bond.
So I'm recalling why this particular committee came up. I don't think the council wanted to all be at the table when these requests came in. And so I think that was the reason that two people would volunteer to be on the committee. At the end of the day, I thought that the whole council would have the ability to vote once it came from the committee. If that's the case, if the whole council is voting on to adopt that particular name, then I don't see a problem with the committee. The committee is really taking us out, taking the whole council out of the picture until when it's time to vote. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, but that adds another, that prolongs where we're trying to go. We don't need a two-member committee to name a building.
Let's get a point of clarity.
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor, we need a second to that motion.
But he just withdrew it right now.
No, I withdrew the
Withdrew
table,
Tabling, he's got a motion to
amend the policy to
naming
remove the
committee.
naming,
And
the
we
naming.
need a second
Right.
for that in order to have discussion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, you're second for the second. Okay, so it's been, now with discussion. The motion on the floor is to remove the naming policy, committee. The naming committee out of the policy. Town manager.
Mr. Mayor, Town Council, if I may, I'm just come from a different environment where typically the candidate provides an application to the town administration and then administration brings it before the body with a recommendation. So if that is the pleasure of the council, if y'all would like us to take this policy back, make some amendments to it that's more in line with what other localities do, then I can do that. It will eliminate the need for a committee and put the onus back on administration to bring a recommendation after we have vetted it, after we have received the resumes. And we can tweak look at the criteria and we bring it back to before the body for a vote. If that's what the council so moved, I'm so pleased.
Chair Pro Tem.
Yeah, so I just have a question procedurally. I know we're talking about making some changes to the policy, but when we talk about dragging out the process, my concern is that if we make these changes now, we're not going to see those updated to those changes until September. Then we're going to have to advertise a public hearing for the or something. No, that's something we can vote on.
Well, there's, the public hearing is with respect to the naming, not for amending the policy.
Okay, so which still pushes us out after we have the policy amended. So my question is, would it be quicker to have two volunteers sit on this naming committee, bring it to us, and then we could possibly vote on this in our next meeting, vice having to wait to eliminate a policy? So having to drag out a couple months, does that make y'all see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like we eliminate it. I don't think so, because they could meet next week. Whoever's going to be on this naming committee could theoretically meet this week, next week, sometime in the month of August, and then it could be on the agenda in September. But if we have to change this policy, I'm sorry.
Actually, Ms. Pandak just reminded me that being that it will be 3 council members on this committee, we would have to advertise that as a public meeting.
Right.
So that would also delay the timing as well.
A little bit, we don't have to advertise it like for a public hearing, but you do have to give notice on this.
I would like to,
There's a motion to discuss.
Ideally 3 days, but.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we're still in the beginning of August, so whatever the 3-day time limit is, I don't want to speak for you guys this time, because I don't, just FYI, I'm not volunteering for this committee. But whoever's going to be on the committee, 3 days from now, theoretically, I'm not saying that you would, but you could have a meeting to have something to bring back to us in in the beginning of September. That's just my concern. When we talk about the timeliness, the fastest way, I don't think, is eliminating the policy. I think the fastest way at this point is to go with it, have a name, and then eliminate the policy if need be. But if we do that first, then we're just dragging it on. But
No.
So the motion on the floor right now, Councilman Fee, second by Councilman Fields, is to remove the committee from the policy.
that's
All
correct.
right, it's been motion and it's been second. All right, any other discussion on that motion that's on the floor? Vice Mayor.
So my question is, if the motion passes to remove the committee, are we removing the committee and moving into what the town manager proposed?
That's correct. No, why not? That'd be
Yeah, second, another motion made. The motion on the floor right now is just to remove the name policy. the naming committee. That's the motion on the floor.
Well, I
To
know
remove the committee.
our normal procedure is what the town manager was stating, that it would go back to that the staff will bring to council recommendations.
So, but we have to take it one step at a time. So the
Gotcha,
step
okay.
is to remove the policy.
First.
And then the next step would
Okay.
be, what do we do after that point? Okay,
Right, because there is no rush for this, whether it's 3 months or anything like that, because this building is not opening tomorrow. So we just need to make sure everything's right when we do open. And for the future, when we have the things like this going on, that we're not up here battling this. So I do support eliminating this committee, which causes a drawn out confusion. Thank you.
I'm gonna actually agree with Chair Pro Tem on this as far as going back to something we just adopted. I think the fastest way forward to go ahead and implement it and put it in place. So I lend my comments to yours. Chair Pro-
Okay, so just for clarification, because it sounds like we're saying two things at once. Are we talking about eliminating the naming committee, or are we talking about eliminating the policy itself? And does the policy have teeth if there is no committee? Because a lot of the requirements are centered around having a policy committee. So what is the ask is my thing.
Eliminate the committee.
that's the first step.
That's the first step.
And then based on what my thought process would be, once we do that, my thought process would be moving into what the town manager proposed. That would be my next motion. So it's
I guess my whole, I guess where I'm coming from is, I would like to not, I know, and with all respect to this not being a rush, I would like to have it resolved as effectively as possible. It is no need to drag it on for several months. If we could go with what we had, like, I think it's a conversation worth having about eliminating the committee and eliminating the power, changing the policy. But for now, do we really want to, when we talk about being tied up, it's actually creating more hurt. It's designed to make this easier, when in this particular case, it's actually going to make it more prolonged and it's going to make it more difficult. Yeah, so that's just where I'm at with. I don't think this accomplishes the goal faster
I'm not
at this point. Not at this point. I don't see it.
over here to our town attorney. She had her light on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I saw it on like you were waiting. Councilman Brown.
So Mayor, I can support the motion to withdraw the committee. I think we have several things going on. We have the mayor and 2 council members. So every time this committee meet, we have to have some kind of
Notice to the
public
website.
notice. So that's all backwards in itself. So I think at some point, we're gonna have to come back and modify this thing heavily or withdraw it right now, if that's what we can do, right? So I would support removing the committee altogether.
Yes.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem.
Nay.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Yes.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Vice Mayor,
Yes.
and then I'll say no. So it carries what? 5-2. All right. All right.
I'd like to make a motion.
What is your motion?
I'd like to make a motion that for naming procedures, we go with the town manager's suggestion for naming and renaming town facilities, parks, streets, and for naming and renaming of town facilities, parks, and streets. We take the town manager's proposal.
A second.
Okay, it's been motion and second, and just reiterate your proposal so everybody knows what it is.
I'm going to update the policy, create a way for the administration to receive the notification from all public people who are proposing the naming of a facility, and for the administration to bring those recommendations before council to vote. I will bring this back before council at the first meeting in September.
So at this point, you would be creating a new policy because we just destroyed this policy, right?
Or I could revise
We
it.
just
I could
remove
revise it.
So is that what it would be? Would it be creating a new policy? Or would it just be a procedure? What would it be?
Mr. Mayor, in response to the Vice Mayor's question, I believe there's some other aspects of the policy about information that has to be provided, things that are matters for consideration. So this I would consider an amendment. It's a big amendment, but it's an amendment. But you could call it a repeal as to portions of it. We'll bring it back to you with the markup and then with the final, so you can see the changes.
So what is your motion? Yes.
So help me understand for clarification, then the difference in a procedure and a policy. And the reason I'm asking that is because a policy then says that we're going to do it this way and we have it all laid out with guidelines versus a procedure being this is the way we're doing things and it's not necessarily laid out. Just explain that so that we're all clear on what the difference is. And then what would be the direction forward? Would we be adopting an amended policy? An amended policy, or would we then just have a discussion about what the procedure would be moving forward?
Both. So you will amend the policy to change a portion of the procedure.
Okay.
You can decide not to call it a policy anymore, but that's what I see as you're amending the policy and an aspect of the procedure will be significantly different.
Thank you.
Clarity on your motion?
So my motion is that we accept the town manager's proposal for an amended policy for the naming and renaming of town facilities, parks, and streets.
Who seconded? Who was the second?
Councilman Pete.
Okay, Councilman Pete. All right, any further discussion?
So,
Councilman Burton?
so I just want to make sure that once this policy procedure is modified, amended, that the council will have the actual last vote before this name is accepted. That's what I want to make sure that's, okay.
Councilman Pete and then Chair Pro Tem?
Yes.
No. Did you?
No.
Sorry. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just had a question. Just thinking of timelines. If we have the amended policy and we approve it first meeting in September, could we have names to possibly vote on second meeting in September? Okay, all right, thank you.
I will now call for the question. Councilman Phils.
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Yes.
Councilman Pete.
Yes.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem.
Aye.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
And it's a yes for me.
So Mayor, the clarity is needed in regards to whether or not you're going to just do Friday. It's my understanding that right now we're scheduled to meet on Saturday, August the 26th from 8:30 until about 5.
That's a Friday.
No, we're meeting on Saturday.
On Saturday. All right.
Can we get it all done in one day is the question.
Well, I think we did the lion's share of the work.
Yeah.
It's just her bringing it back, because we're gonna have the same facilitator.
Mhm.
Jane Ditmeyer come back, and so she'll work to put it all together. We had a conversation with her last week, and she was confident in that time frame.
Forgive me if I missed something. Was there an agenda shared? Was there an agenda that
No, so we don't have an agenda.
there was no agenda? And I ask that because have there been some things whether or not this can all be done in one day would be dependent on what the agenda looks like. And I don't think that I can't answer that question. I can't give an educated answer without knowing what exactly the agenda looks like as far as whether or not it can all be done in one day. Because I'm hearing about different things that may or may not be discussed, such as lobbyist things and things of that nature. So I don't know what the agenda looks like. So I don't know whether or not it can all be done in one day.
So lobbying is gonna be a 90-minute set aside. I think we have that, and then the rest of the strategic plan and lunch is all incorporated in the day. And based on just that 90 minutes and the strategic planner, she said that was all the time. Has she created an agenda for us yet? No, she just wanted to make sure that we were okay with the time that she set aside, which was from 8:30 to 5. So she wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable. She has not developed. She wants to get the time that we're comfortable with.
Okay, so the one day is the recommendation of the planner considering what she knows to be the agenda?
Yes.
Oh, well, if that's her, yeah, then.
So what I believe Ms. Hill needs some guidance on is whether or not she's making arrangements for you guys to leave the night before on Friday, because it is such an early agenda and we have not locked down a location, so it may require some travel.
So, and we can go down for recommendations. I did reach out to National League of Cities about using their room. The first answer I got from the first person was a no, but of course I just believe it as a not yet type of situation. So I actually called after the email today actually to say you can reconsider that and kind of push a different way. But the question is, do you want to travel or is it just easier to stay here? So, that could be a discussion to go around. Like, is it necessary?
It's not a retreat, right?
No, it's just a strategic planning. So I'll just go down and get feedback. So Councilman Pete, you want to start and then Chair?
I believe she can come here and give a day class. We have rooms. We can utilize this.
Okay, so that's your recommendation.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem?
My recommendation would be to travel, but then also I have some concerns. I don't know that we can get what we need done in one day. Because there have been other agenda items added. We were asked to provide feedback for things that we wanted to talk about in the retreat. So in addition to the strategic plan, there were additional things that have been added to it. So I don't know if we could do what we need to do well in a one-day time span. So I do think that we need to travel to a location, not necessarily far, but that would be what I was.
So you want to move it from a strategic plan to another full retreat?
Well, not necessarily, but they asked for additional items. So if she's, like you said, she's based this off of what she believes to be the topics that we're discussing, but we've added additional topics. So if those haven't been taken into consideration, then we need longer than that. We're gonna need longer than one day.
Councilman Phil, so before I come down this side, I just want to talk about locations now.
I'm okay with traveling.
Vice Mayor?
I prefer travel, and I also to reiterate Council Pro Tem Miles' point, I respect the planner's idea for one day, but one thing that I don't believe has been taken into consideration is one of the things that we talked about is having more discussion around the town manager's roles, expectations, et cetera. That is something that we proposed going into more depth about, that we did not have the pleasure of going into great lengths, a discussion at great lengths about in our first session. And so unless the strategic planner has built that into her agenda, we're going to need time for that. And I imagine that that could become a lengthy discussion as far as in addition to any other suggestions that other council members may have added, because we were asked for suggestions of things to discuss. And, 8 to 5, it's a lot to try and cram things in. And if we aren't able to fully go through what we need to, and we end up rushing through things, then we end up having to come back again or things are not complete. It's better to get it done right than to have to come back and do it again.
Councilman Brown? And then Councilwoman Peterson.
I would not like to travel. So I think to Vice Mayor and Pro Temp's concerns, I haven't seen the agenda. And I understand that the facilitator has locked us in. However, I don't want to meet for a day and have to come back and do something else because we didn't have enough time. On the other hand, I don't want to spend 2 days when we need 8 hours and 15 minutes. So without the agenda and looking at it and making sure that we all agree that this could be discussed within that one day, I think this is this shooting in the blind here. I'm gonna pretty much go with the majority here because I just want to get it done. But I want to make sure we're spending our time putting effort in making sure we accomplish what we set out to accomplish. And I can't tell you that because I don't know what's on the agenda.
Councilwoman Peterson,
I agree. I'm keeping local as well. That is the first week of school.
push your thing so we can hear you on the YouTube.
I agree. I want to keep it local as well.
Were you a district? I don't, let me hold on. Let me make
Yes,
sure.
I was at the
Oh,
one in Alexander.
I was saying, let me look at the attendance. Okay, so you were part of this retreat too.
Mhm.
All right. Yes, I think everybody spoke. Go ahead.
Allow me some clarification on my vote for travel. When I say travel, I mean, I don't want to do it here in the council chambers. That's what I mean. I don't mean travel out of state. I just don't want to do it here in the council chambers. So I just want to make sure I'm very clear about that. I do want to stay local, but I don't want to host it here.
Okay, I guess let me give my thoughts on the retreat, the after action report. The intent of the planner was to go through and present kind of like all of our ideas compound of what we came up with at the retreat. We had a very intensive retreat where we went through the entire comprehensive plan, our budget. We approved the new budget, and she presented. She took into consideration, the town manager went through all the stuff you went, and we talked about the lobbying. And she was pretty comfortable with the 8 hours and getting in those 3 topics. Those were the 3 things we're talking about: lobbying, strategic planning, and the town manager roles and response. Those stuff you put in your email, the stuff that was submitted in the time frame that when they sent the email out in the response, all of that was submitted. And so those are the 3 topics, or the 3 agenda items, if you want to call it agenda items, that she's going to discuss and talk about. So I just want to make sure that it's clear that she has 3 things. And I don't know, did she send you like a whole scope of work?
She sent us a scope of work. However, there was a section that was missing, but it did not have the agenda. But we did discuss those 3 items.
Yeah, those are just 3 items. So I guess if
We
you
went
want to
through
call those
all
3 items in the agenda.
I think it was 6 questions that you wanted to discuss, Vice Mayor. The lobbyist coming in, talking to the council, as well as the strategic plan. And she did say
So there's
8
scope of
hours.
work for 3 items up there.
Yes.
So if you want to call that agenda, we'll call it an agenda. But we don't have a physical agenda. All right. Yeah, so one day, you're saying one day. Okay. So you're saying one day, you're saying, Chair Pro Tem, and then we'll come to Pete.
Okay, yes, I just want to, remind everybody of the pace of the first retreat. I know there were definitely sections where we had to rush through because there was not enough time. Like, I get that, nobody is trying to give their whole Saturday to doing this. I'm with that. But I just don't see how logistically we're going to fit everything that we need to discuss in that 8 hours. And then we're talking about starting at 8:30 in the morning. We're not going to have a jam-packed, impactful conversation at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, so I caution that that's just not enough time to be productive. If we're not going to do it right, then I don't know why we're doing it. But I will yield.
Councilman Pete.
Can we get a formal agenda?
Yeah, we can, but
Like, can we get an agenda? Cause we don't wanna.
we're not gonna have another meeting before you get your agenda.
Yeah,
That's
but
why I
I'm
said-
saying, can we get this an email or something like
Yeah,
that?
we can get it, but it's gonna be the 3 items that we said are gonna be. There's gonna be 3 items on the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay.
What have we done? We voting now?
Well, we don't have to vote. It was just a discussion because we wanted to give the town manager clarity as she finishes the scope of work. And as they plan it, they're trying to see if they're planning 1 day, 2 days, is it somewhere that they have to spend money to get somewhere to stay. Who all of the logistics has to be planned by the clerk. And so we needed to have a conversation here about logistically what everybody wanted to do so that they can start making phone calls and planning tomorrow.
What?
So we voted for 1 day, if we have to come to a determination.
Okay.
And make a decision.
Yeah, I'm saying day and a half.
So what are we considering travel? Cause I'm hearing this building, I'm hearing travel, and then I'm also hearing local, but travel not in this building. That we have 3 options on the table. So what are we looking at?
So the options, I think one was here. I think we were looking at possibly Springfield or Alexandria or the National League of City headquarters trying to get their building for free. So those are 3, this building, National League of Cities, maybe somewhere in Springfield or back in Alexandria. Okay. Those are the 4 options. So we had to figure out what everybody wants there. So I just go by and we'll just try to get a general consensus. I do.
I support the majority.
If it's local, if it's local. No, I don't.
And I'm gonna ride with Brown. He gonna pick me up.
I'll make sure y'all up on time.
He gonna pick me up. We military.
Okay. You tell that to I-95.
And then we'll make. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Where we at? Made it through that discussion. All right. Item I is a discussion on 70-22. I have to make a disclosure because I won't be able to join y'all for that conversation, nor will I be voting or communicating on that. And that's based on Virginia code. Hold on. I gotta read the code, don't I? Let me get that. Yeah, I can't. The requirements of public notice, Virginia Code Section 2.3-3115 subsection F. Any officer, employee, or local government who has a personal interest in any transaction before the government or advisory agency which he is an officer or employee or is disqualified from participation in transaction pursuant to this subsection A, otherwise elects to disqualify himself, shall further make this disclosure of the existence of his intent, including the full name and address of his business, parcel number, the real estate of interest, exposure, all of that. So this is Councilman Phil's agenda, and I'm gonna turn it over to you to run this part. I might even just sit there.
And Mr. Mayor, if I might just, I will provide you with a form as well, so you can.
I can sign my
Yes,
disclosure.
sir.
Yeah.
Their disqualification, yes, sir.
All right, so I'm disqualifying myself from this conversation. It's-
All right, moving on to item I. Well, now it's H, right? Is it I? Well, you eliminated, yeah, we eliminated something, so that makes it H. G. Okay, it's the next item. Councilman Fields.
Before I get started, friendly amendment to this discussion will then turn into an action item. Per the
I'm
town.
sorry, sir, we voted on it to be a discussion item, not an action item.
I know, that's why I'm making an adjustment.
Can we do that at this point?
Madam Vice Chair, the council voted on it to put it on as a discussion item.
Mhm.
He's asking for an amendment. You could amend it. What it's going to be on the agenda. As I noted when Mr. Fields first mentioned this, you would also have to waive your rule of procedure, which requires 30 days notice for action item.
Oh, that's what you were, so. if-
Yes, that's what I was referring, that requests for legislation will be submitted at least 30 days prior to the advertised meeting date. So you can waive that as well.
So if he wants it to be an action item, then he has to make another motion then, or we have to vote on?
He's asking you, as I understand it, to amend the agenda item now, out of order, after. And so you could determine by a majority vote of council to allow him to do that.
Okay,
And at the same time, given that it is an action item, you need to also decide if you're going to allow that. That you're going to waive your rule of procedure with respect to the 30 days notice.
okay, thank you. So your question, sir?
Yes, with that being said, with the town attorney's friendly advice, that's what I'm asking now before we go forward.
So in the form of a motion, please, so we can get a second if there is one
Sure.
and vote.
Sure. I do motion that the discussion item be amended to conclude an action item at the end of discussion.
It's been motioned. Do we have a second for it?
I have a question.
Can-
Yes, you can ask a question, but it needs to be a second if you're gonna discuss.
I'm sorry, but I can,
Yes, you can ask.
what is the action?
Let's get to the discussion first.
But no, but you actually add the action on.
Yes,
So-
the action would be to direct the staff to set up a meeting, a closed session, to amend the code, the redactions that you see there in red, and also in conjunction with a public hearing with the planning commission on the same date.
Not a closed meeting, just regular.
No, I didn't say that.
discussion.
I said
You did say.
public hearing.
Yeah, you did say.
Okay,
But I got it.
okay. So it's been, are you clear on the motion, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been motioned. Do we have a second?
Second.
Sorry, Vice Mayor, do you mind asking Councilman Fields to repeat his motion?
Councilman Fields, please repeat your motion.
Sure. Town Code Section 722. And the direction would be to direct town staff. Okay. To bring before public hearing along with the planning commission on the same date. To have public hearing on changing the town code.
Thank you.
It's been motioned and it's been second. Ma'am, it's been motioned and second. Can we call for the question? Or can we, discussion, I'm sorry, discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so
Pro Tem Miles, yeah.
just a comment to throw this out there. We have hired a new, well, the town manager is bringing on a new director. Could we wait until he gets here so that he has time to review this and give us feedback and schedule the project hearing after that? I think I heard that he'll be here on the 14th. Is it the 21st? So, you know, that would still be enough time for him to review it, and we can schedule a public hearing at our first meeting in September. So that way at least staff has had a chance to review and provide feedback.
I'm trying to get there. If we can get through this motion, that legitimately would be almost the same thing.
No, it's not, because you said that you want a public hearing with the planning commission and the council,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't give like a timeline, dates, the path forward. I just need more information before I'm voting on it. Do you see what I'm
Yeah, you
saying?
want everything
Sure.
on the same
Yeah.
day.
Sure. Our timeline could be, if possible, like I said, we're going back and forth with the town attorney. If possible, if there's enough time, the next meeting or the second meeting in September. It's
So-
just for bringing it up for public hearing with joint.
So what I'm hearing, I want to make sure I have some clarification. So what I'm hearing is you're asking to fast track all of this, which negates the 30 day. So if we approve this, then we are negating our own 30-day process.
That's correct. So as
Okay.
part of his motion, you would also be
Negating.
waiving your 30-day process. yes.
Okay. Any other discussion?
When does the planning commission, when is their next meeting?
September 11th. So
And Councilman Fields, you were looking at doing this joint public hearing on what dates?
If there's enough time with announcements, the first meeting of September, or if that's not enough time, the second meeting of September. A work session meeting in September.
September 19th. That
Okay,
date,
Mhm.
September 19th.
so we don't necessarily, if we're talking about September 19th and the planning commission meets on the 11th. We don't necessarily have to have a joint public hearing between us and the planning commission. The reason I'm saying this is during my time on the planning commission, when you do a joint public hearing, that can get very complicated. And that makes things taxing. If we're talking about doing it on the 19th, they could have their public hearing on the 11th when they meet. And we could have our public hearing on the 19th, and we don't have to cross paths, because it just gets complicated in terms of all the promotions. The discussion gets more lengthy. It's easier to have them separate.
I
That's
hear-
just my opinion. So that's not, so we're talking about the 19th, we don't have to combine. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. But that's not my motion.
Is there any more?
I just
Can
would
I
like to
get you
add,
the motion?
I just would like to add, the planning commission, so if they meet twice in September, they're also going to get paid twice in September, just so you are aware, just so everyone knows.
Do we have any other discussion before we call for the question? Is everybody clear on what's happening here?
I have to say, I do have a little bit of lack of clarity. Councilman Fields, you want to have as part of your motion initiating these precise amendments. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just want to make sure everybody understands that. On a related matter, and maybe it makes it too confusing. I would like to follow up. I think once the council acts on this, there may be a related matter to it to bring before you tonight with respect to changes.
Sure.
So if we can, I'll hold that until we get to it.
So Vice Mayor,
Yes.
so my understanding, the motion is after the discussion to have an action item added to have the town go ahead and reword document that the code for public hearing in September. That is the motion on the floor.
And that it also negates our policy,
Okay.
that the whole 30-day.
That's what it does, but the motion is just what I just said. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure that we're clear.
To fast track this,
Yeah.
and yes.
Okay, okay.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, could you repeat that, Councilman Brown? Because I
So
think
the
it-
motion, the agenda item was to have a discussion.
Mhm.
Councilman Field want to add an action item to the agenda tonight that we, once we have this discussion, that we have the town go ahead and modify the code for public hearing in September.
So to that.
So we're not,
I'm sorry, Ms. Payne, you were saying that there will be additional changes to?
If I might, Chair Pro Tem, if we can hold off on that until we deal with this motion, just not to make things confusing. Okay, it's pertinent, but not critical to this motion.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Councilman
So
Brown.
I'm sorry,
Can you repeat
so
it?
the only concern, the only issue that I see here is that we are fast, we're moving faster than we would normally move on code change. That is it. But if we're gonna change the code, we're all gonna have the same opportunity to have input on what needs to be changed or what we agreed to. So the town can go ahead and adjust this and get it ready for public hearing.
Exactly.
So whether it's 30 days or we do it before 30 days, at the end of the day, we're given about 30 days. That's what I hear is gonna be missing here. Otherwise, this is routine.
Mhm.
And so that's what
Exactly.
we're voting on. Do we want
Exactly.
to add that action item to the agenda? Yes or no? That's what we're voting on.
Exactly. If we need the extra time, I provided that in the motion to have the extra time. If not, we'll.
So I think we can vote. We don't have any other questions. Yes or no? Oh, we have.
My apologies. Town clerk, could you please repeat the motion as you understood it? I'm just saying because we're hearing different things. I just want to make sure.
Okay, so the motion is to direct staff to bring back before the planning commission as well as the town council on the same date to change the code. And then also that will be waiving your code where your procedure of 30 days. And I'll make that prettier when I do the minutes, but that's.
So see, I don't have a problem with amending the code. I don't even have a problem with the 30 days, but that joint public hearing is where I think things could get confusing. So that's just my comment.
So, I'm struggling right now because what I'm struggling is I'm struggling with the optics here. Because the reality of our situation is, we got some things that we're dealing with right now. And I don't like the optics of us being in the middle of trying to sort through some deficiencies in our code. And while we're sorting through these deficiencies, we're changing the code as we go along. I have a problem with that. That doesn't sit right with me. Because before we can make changes to the code, we need to sort through what deficiencies there are or are not. And right now we have a director of a planning and community development director who starts on the 21st. And when that person comes here, this is why I asked what the person's responsibilities will be, what their credentials have
Point of
to
order,
be.
Mayor. Point of
No,
order.
no, I'm sorry. No, I want to finish my thought, please. This is why I asked what that person's credentials would be and what that person's responsibilities would be, because I know we're in the process of sorting through some questions about what could potentially be some deficiencies in some of the things that we're dealing with. So for me to make a decision to change a code while we're in the middle of sorting through things, I don't like how that feels.
My point of order is
I'm not
that is
done,
not the
sir.
motion on the floor.
I'm not done.
But
So,
that's point of order.
but I'm not giving it to you
Okay.
because I'm running the meeting and I'm still speaking. So
All
I'm
right.
not giving you the point of order. I'm going to complete my thought. So my issue with it is I don't like how it appears. And so even if what we're talking about right now is to just, if the action is to take what we have here to push it forward for a public hearing, which is what I'm understanding, which is why the question was asked so many times. That's why I'm like, I'm gonna make sure I'm understanding too. So what we're talking about, because Sharon used, sorry, Ms. Pandak, what you said was, what we do today would result in us going against or changing what our current policy is, even for how we do things, right? That's what I heard you say.
That's with your rules. Yes, you have to waive the rules on the 30 days.
Right, and so, and so that's, so for me, that's what also makes this more complicated, that we would be changing something while we're in the middle of something else and also waiving our own already established rules. And I don't like how this is all playing out. So now I'm done, sir. Now you have the floor.
I got the floor. My point of order is that is not the motion on the floor or has anything to do with the motion on the floor. Can we move on with the vote?
Councilman Brown?
Are we voting now or do we still have discussion?
Well, is there any more discussion? If there's not, then we can call for the question.
Aye.
Ma'am, are you calling for the question now?
Councilman Phillips,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
I'm gonna abstain because I still don't necessarily, I don't have clarity.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Pete,
At the moment, no.
Vice Mayor Nicholson,
No.
that motion carried. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So now we can have discussion, right?
Okay.
No, it wasn't a discussion. No, now it's an action item.
All right, so that's what I was trying to get to at first. God. All this talking before we even get a day on vote.
That action item was to have the town do what it is before that. So the action item is now on the agenda. We go back now to discuss what the changes are that they need to happen. That's where we are.
And it's, what I heard, the action item is to have the staff to go back and take these actions. That's what I heard. That's what I heard, which is what I just asked Ms. Pandak for clarification on.
H was the item to discuss. We have another item on the agenda for tonight. That's after H. And that's going to be after we discuss this. To then go back to the town council and make adjustments. Prepare for vote for the vote. I'm sorry, so we just added another item to the agenda tonight. That's what we just voted on. That is it.
That's not what that was. That's not what that was supposed to be.
I think maybe, Madam Vice Chair. What Mr. Brown has said is what I have handwritten right here. If there was lack of clarification as to what people were voting on, maybe as a point of order, there should be a reconsideration.
Okay,
so that everybody's clear. But I hope I capture what he was saying, Madam Chairman, Vice Chairman, but what Councilman Brown just said is what I wrote as to what the motion was.
Okay, because what I heard Councilman Fields asked what was originally, it was already on the agenda for discussion, and he asked to change it from a discussion to an action item.
Yes.
Right?
Which was a motion to do that.
No, I'm sorry, that wasn't the most, wasn't the motion that I heard. I heard that he wanted to add additional action, additional item to the agenda tonight, and that was gonna be an action item. And that would be the result of after we have our discussion, which was item 8. Once we have the discussion, we'll go to this next action item on the agenda, was to now send it over to the town to modify and get ready for public hearing. So we still have 2 things to do. One, to discuss the changes, and then we're gonna have to come back to the next action item and vote whether we want to send this over to town to make the adjustments. That's what I thought I heard.
Madam Vice Chair, I have to say that now I am confused too. So perhaps somebody ought to just move to reconsider and then vote again.
What about action for them to suspend the rules for 30 days? Because that's what I thought.
That's what I thought we were talking about. 30 days and amending the agenda to be an action item, not just a discussion.
And that's what I asked you before we called. If we agree on this, does that suspend the 30 days? And that's what you confirmed.
Yes.
Which is why I voted no.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
That's the reason why I voted no also
Exactly.
without the clarity of this, but Ms. Brian, to your point, you did state that even if we have to move it to the next meeting after that, correct?
The public hearing.
So you want us to break the rules?
I think right at this point, there seems to be sufficient confusion as about what the vote was. That I would recommend that there be a motion to reconsider and that the motion be voted on again.
Okay, I make a motion to reconsider so that we can start from scratch.
Second.
Now we can take a vote on that, Ms. Hill, and then we'll go back to.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. So.
It does have to be, that's
Yeah,
correct.
that's true.
It does have to be prevailing side.
Okay.
I'm incorrect, so it has to be prevailing side.
I'm ready to go to bed now.
We need
Somebody from the
who will go
prevailing
to
side has the motion that we redo it.
Motion is to
Reconsider, so you can revote.
I motion to reconsider the vote.
Second does not have to be somebody on the prevailing side.
I second.
That's correct.
Vote.
So the motion is.
This is just reconsider right now.
Reconsider.
We need to
Okay.
vote on that.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Fields,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Aye.
Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, Madam Vice Chair, if I can try what I think the motion is now, if somebody wants to make it. For Mr. Fields is to amend the agenda to create an action item to amend the code for discussion and to waive the 30-day rule. So if you do that and this motion passes, then you would then proceed to a discussion of the action item. So we need a second to Mr. Fields' motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned, it's been second. Are there any questions or discussion for any additional clarification? Please say no so we can call for the question. Are we clear on it now that it's been said more clearly? Okay, call for the question, ma'am.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Fields,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Aye.
Councilman Pete,
No.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
No.
motion carried.
All right, the motion carries 5-2.
Now, Madam Vice Chair, we have the discussion on sending on the action item now, which is to initiate and send to public hearing the proposed changes by Mr. Fields to section 70-22.
Okay, so now that we have foregone the 30-day process, now you want to make a motion that we send this to public hearing?
Yes. My discussion item would be that, as we know, as long as we've been on the town council, some of us, that some of our town codes need to be updated and changed to fit modern day and current times. I think it's now appropriate that we do so with the changes that are highlighted in red on the 70-22 town ordinance. So therefore, I will recommend that we send this to town staff with the previous discussions that we've already had and regarding to dates, regarding to meetings and public hearing with both. Again, the changes are highlighted in red. I believe it will bring us up to current times.
Okay, it's been motioned. Do we have a second?
We don't have discussion before second.
No questions, but no discussion.
So we need a second for the motion and then we'll go into discussion before we call for the question.
Second.
It's been motion, it's been second, so discussion. Town manager?
I just wanted to ask a question. There have been some other changes that impact the town's operation that I would like for y'all to, the council to consider in conjunction to what y'all vote on tonight. I just want to make sure, because there's some things that is preventing us to operate as well, that we would like to add to these amendments, if y'all allow that.
Madam Vice Chair, if I might just a little more for clarification. My understanding is that there are some challenges with respect to temporary uses being used during town events and the requirements for those particular temporary uses on, say, a special day that the town's having. Those are not zoning ordinance changes. But that's my understanding, is that both Ms. Ennis and Ms. Hill would like the council to take a look at those in the context of any other changes to the temporary roadside food vendor changes.
Okay.
Okay. So.
All right, so. Opening the floor for discussion. Any questions, any discussion? Councilman Fields, you have a slide on. Councilman Fields?
I'll go to.
Councilman Brown?
Okay, there's a lot of questions. So, first of all, is this, are these changes in accordance? Are there any other examples of town code that looks like this when it comes to mobile vendors? Have we looked at any localities that may have?
So, if I'm trying to, if you're directing that question to me, the answer is no.
The same thing with respect to the town attorney. We just received these tonight. We've not looked at any changes.
Without having
Okay,
30 days, there's no time.
We got time because we're not.
Yeah.
We gonna vote
That's
right
my
now.
point.
So my issue is to get to the discussion here. And the discussion brings a lot of questions about, I think, what a lot of us is thinking, why we are making the changes in this, and how does these changes affect vendors downstream? So as I'm looking at the code, the requested changes, personally, I see nothing. I'm not a vendor. I'm not a mobile vendor, truck vendor, and I can't relate to some of this stuff, so I have to have a comparison. What are other localities doing? Is there somewhere we can vet that these are not something outside of the norm? And if that hasn't happened, I can't support moving this to public hearing. I just want to get to the point where we actually talk about the code. So if none of this has been vetted, then the whole discussion about getting to the public hearing that's a no-go for me. And that's all I have to say about that.
Any other discussion?
So, yeah, I just want to point out that I know we get annoyed with some of our policies and procedures, but that's why they exist. This is why this has been so confusing. And that's why we have procedures in place. I think that I'm fine with a public hearing if our staff has enough time to digest it and give us feedback. But first, like, I haven't seen this before. I haven't been able to digest this. It seems like you're just asking us to take it off of your recommendation, off of what you, off of your beliefs. It's not based on, like, have you run it through anybody? Has anybody co-signed it? Has anybody, like, is there anything there?
There's a lot there. And that's why we're going through the procedures that we're going through now.
We're not following procedures. Procedures went out the window 2 motions ago.
Okay. But what you're looking for, of course, there's still homework to be done. Okay, that's why we're directing it to the town staff. So when it comes up the next time, all that talking and public hearing and discussion things that you have time to do that. You know, it may seem like a rush, but what typically has happened, we run into problems and we hee-haw and go back and forth and talk about this, that, and the other instead of coming up with solutions to try to fix it. This is part of the solution to try to fix it. And I think it's very simple. If we take the emotions out of it, it's very simple to try to fix these things. If we keep just wishing for something else or someone else to do something, that's what we're here for, to stand up and do something about it. So this is a part of the process to try to fix what I see as a wrong.
Any other discussion? I see your lights still.
No, I don't have anything else.
Councilman Pete?
I'm still where I'm at. The only issue I have with this is this 30-day rule that we're breaking.
Yeah, we're past that part. Anything else? Any other discussion? My feelings are, as I stated before we got to this, I guess it was 2-3 motions ago, with regard to making changes while we're in the midst of figuring some other things out. I think it's important that we have the guidance of a community planning commissioner, director. I keep having to go back to look at what this proper title is. That we have this person in place, and not only that we have this person in place, but we have this person in place and this person has enough time to acclimate themselves to our town and our code. Maybe this person is the kind of person who does their homework before they get here. Otherwise, they're going to walk in the door and be met with this and not have the proper time to bring themselves up to speed in order to come to us and make an educated recommendation, because they're going to walk in the door and this will be dropped in their laps. And that's concerning for me because we rely on the professionalism and the knowledge of the staff that we have around us. I am not equipped to make these kind of decisions because this is not my area of expertise. And so having this person come on board, you know, we do have Nick here and we appreciate the work that Nick does, but having this next person come on board with that level of expertise is something that I was looking to rely on, which is why I was really wanting to hold on to that 30-day time frame. That's a moot point now, but you know, I personally am not comfortable with it, and I will not be supporting it at this time. If there's no further discussion, ma'am, we can call for the question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Would we be, Councilman Phillips, would you be willing to accept an amendment to the motion to allow for the new town director, director of community development to review the changes, or well as in addition to the changes Ms. Ennis has proposed, and then bring that back to a public hearing?
No, we're not. The sentence is here right now. Town attorney's here right now. We're here right now. They can get them up to speed. That's what they get paid the big bucks for, to come in with knowledge and we vet them before they come here to make sure they do their homework before they come to the town, so they know what the heck is going on. So they should come with previous knowledge of how to deal with situations like this. I'm quite sure in every interview, you ask someone, what is your biggest challenge? And they have to provide an answer of their biggest challenge. If they can't handle a simple challenge like this, maybe they don't need to be here.
That's not why I'm asking. The
Well,
reason
my
I
answer is
asked.
no.
Okay, well, I'm gonna finish my statement. The reason that I made that request is that because they are a professional, they may have a more detailed or a more accurate assessment of the ordinance that would make it easier for our vendors. We are not allowing them that time, sir. So, okay, let's vote since we got that, since that's what we have.
For the, Councilman Pete? Ma'am, call for the question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Brown,
Nay.
Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Nay.
Councilman Pete,
No.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Nay.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
No.
motion denied.
Okay, the motion fails. And next we go.
May I make a subsequent motion?
Is
Is
that within line parliamentarian?
No?
If it relates to the same matter, you can, but if it's a different matter, not related to it.
No, it's the same. It relates to the matter. I would like to make a motion that when the Director of Community Development gets on board, he review this ordinance in addition to the ordinances that Ms. Ennis has recommended changes, that he compiles them and presents to us an ordinance that's effective, that is harmonious with Virginia State Code and that is that's in the best interest of the town.
Is there a timeline, ma'am?
What do you have a suggestion?
I would say, I just want to know, it can take somewhere 30 to 60 days. I just want to make sure that the council, know their expectations. That's all.
Okay, let's do 30 days.
30 days.
Second.
30 days from when he comes on board or 30 days from now?
When he comes on board.
Okay.
Second.
All right, it's been motioned, it's been second. Any discussion on what was that? What was that called?
The motion, do you need me to repeat?
Yeah, I have a question about the motion.
Okay.
And it's not about the process, it's about what are we asking this new person to do? So as I'm reading what we are asked, what is proposed to be changed, if it's not a matter of legality, then this code is what we say it is. So the only thing that I need from someone from the legal perspective is, are we operating outside of county code, state code, or any other code that would not allow us to change it? Because no one in the town has the responsibility to write this code. So my only concern, I don't know that this stuff is not legal. That's all I need. I don't need to wait until someone else comes in and tell me that. So if we want to do that, it just don't make up to me personally. We're not dependent on that person to tell us whether we can say they can have a trash can or not.
No.
I'm reading what some of the changes are.
And that's why, like, when I was saying, we need them to look through it and see if there's a more effective way to write some of this out because they're the experts. I'm not saying we want them to prove it, but that's why I want them to review it and say, okay, this could be cleared up in one sentence. And I'm gonna put that one sentence there. We want to give them room to make improvements if necessary. Do you see what I'm saying?
So I do understand verbiage wise, how it's written. I think it could be cleaned up. So I agree with that. But are you saying that this community director is the only one in the town that can do that?
I'm not saying he's the only one in town that can do that. I'm saying that if there might be some generic, because like I said, I'm not an expert with it either. There may be some generic language he can throw in here that would take care of both these changes. So I just want to be able to give him the freedom to do that. I'm not asking him to do a word check or a spell check. Not just
Just clean it up.
So this has been, and I apologize, this has been drawn out long enough. And I don't know if any of us has actually looked at the proposed changes. Because I don't see the legal part in it. I'm just saying, I don't see the legal part in it. I don't know. And that's the clarity that I need to move forward, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. The only part I need is what we are suggesting, what Mr. Fields is suggesting to change. Are we breaking any rules with that?
Madam Vice Chair, if I can answer that.
Please.
The changes have nothing to do with
legality,
contradictions with state code or the
This is
town
already
code.
an ordinance.
So they're not legal issues. They're operational issues. They are issues that may benefit from someone who knows about the appropriate zoning regulation of temporary uses and of roadside stands particularly. And that is a planning / zoning talent. But at least the things that have been proposed as changes here, those are not by virtue of any contradiction with statutory authority.
Okay. And so for clarity, these changes may affect operations for us managing businesses within the town. That is the only.
That is correct.
That's
That
the
is
only-
correct.
Okay, got
Yes,
it.
sir.
Got it.
Okay, if there's no further, do you have a
Comment?
discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
Councilman Fields.
It seems like that it's still good that this came to the table. Because even though it's a roundabout way or a different way, this voted, this didn't vote, this passed, this didn't pass, it's still getting addressed. So I appreciate that point. Okay, regardless of who voted how and how voted who, the point is getting addressed and it's going to get handled. Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair, I think you do need a vote on the motion.
I was going there next. Madam Clerk, would you please read back the motion and call for the question?
The motion was made directing the review of this ordinance as well as the town manager providing some proposed language within 30 days.
All right, the motion's on the floor.
Councilman, ready for the vote?
It's been motioned in second, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes,
Vice Mayor, the motion carried.
okay, thank you. All right, we are done with the exclusionary part of the agenda. Mayor Wood, I believe you are welcome back on the dais, sir.
No.
Okay, very well. All right, next on the agenda is one matter of discussion with legal counsel of actual litigation for CCATT LLC versus the town of Dumfries, CL 21002032-00 pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711 Alpha 7. And it reads as such that the town council desires to discuss a certain matter in closed session. Whereas, I think I read the code already.
Yeah,
but it's-
no, I think you covered it, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
All right. So, I'm looking for a motion to go in closed session.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved
Second.
and second by Councilman Fields. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Fields? Aye. Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem?
Aye.
Vice Mayor? Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. We can convene in closed session right away if nobody needs a
Yes, I
break.
think we should take, it'll only take about 10 minutes.
Okay, you want to, okay.
No, no.
Yeah,
She said go in, it'll only take.
oh, okay, we're going straight in. I got it already. Yeah, my thing. All right, where's the town council of Dumfries has convened in closed meeting? And we who vote yes to the adoption of this agree that we didn't violate the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and that we went back according to Virginia Code 2.2-3712, which requires that we come back out and certify that the only thing we discuss were public business matters that would lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law. And so only public minutes matters that identified in the motion which we went in were heard, discussed, or considered.
So move.
Okay, it's been moved
Second.
and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the question. Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilman Pete.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem.
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson. Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. All right. The action that we're asking to approve engagement of Harmony, Clayton, Corrigan, Wellman to assist with litigation. Whereas the acting town attorney has recommended that the town council retain the services of the law firm, Harmony, Clayton, Corrigan, Wellman to assist with the pending matter of CCATT LLC versus the town of Dumfries, CL 21002032-00.
So move.
Okay, it's been moved
Second.
and second. Any discussion on the resolution? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Aye.
Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilman Pete.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem.
Aye.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah.
And that's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0. At this time, that concludes our meeting. This meeting is now Adjourn.
But